Welcome back, focused learners. In today's explainer, we are diving headfirst into a truly radical proposal aimed straight at the heart of our digital economy. We're zeroing in on the redistribution model behind advertising. Basically, this is a concept that proposes taking the multi-billion-dollar digital ad industry and completely rewiring it from an exclusive corporate profit machine into a nonprofit vehicle for wealth redistribution. It's an absolutely fascinating thought experiment with some real-world blueprints, and I am thrilled to unpack the mechanics of the whole shebang with you today.
Okay, let's dive into this by asking a really simple, everyday question. Think about it. How much were you actually paid to watch the last ad that popped up on your phone or your computer? Yeah, exactly. $0. You gave up your attention, probably your data, and definitely your time, but the financial transaction happened entirely without you. Your attention was sold by a platform, directly to an advertiser, and you just got free access to an app in return. But as we'll see, the source material we're exploring today is really questioning whether that exchange is actually fair.
To really grasp why this matters, you have to look at the sheer mind-boggling scale of the wealth involved here. In 2024, global advertising expenditure was estimated at a staggering $842.5 billion. I mean, we are talking about nearly $1 trillion changing hands across the globe every single year. Right now, this massive pool of capital just flows straight from brands into the pockets of a few centralized tech platforms. The proposal we're examining today asks a huge question. What if even a fraction of this wealth was routed directly into the pockets of you, the consumer who's actually watching the ads?
So here's our roadmap. We'll quickly cover the broken advertising industry, define a radical redistribution model, look at how the system works, explore the closed-loop economy, weigh the economic and social impacts, and wrap up with challenges and future viability. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. The broken advertising industry. And this brilliantly illustrates the current financial landscape according to our sources. You've got the top players absolutely dominating the market. Google's ad revenue sat around $224 billion in 2023, while Meta's reached over $160 billion in 2024. But check out that third bar. An estimated $71 billion is projected to be lost to ad fraud, click farms, and bots. That is $71 billion of corporate wealth essentially vanishing into thin air. It's almost comical how much money is burned on non-existent eyeballs. The sources point to this massive inefficiency as a primary reason why the current model is totally unsustainable and ripe for disruption. Which brings us to a really stark comparison. The current corporate model extracts your data and monetizes your attention purely for exclusive corporate profit. In contrast, the source material introduces a framework called the Love Transcends Sponsorship and Advertisement Nonprofit, or LTS&ANP. Proposed by John Jasper Rainbow Strongman, this alternative model is designed to compensate user attention directly, aiming to convert all that corporate ad spend into citizen wealth. It's a literal paradigm shift from extraction to compensation.
Section 2. A radical redistribution model.
The overarching concept here is something that techs define as conscious advertising. Picture this sitting right at the intersection of corporate marketing, ethical wealth distribution, and measurable social impact. Instead of brands paying platforms just to blast messages at consumers, the idea is that ad dollars are used to directed sponsor the citizens. It attempts to replace cutthroat marketing with a system of consumer empowerment. In short, it makes the act of advertising a form of direct financial support for you. Section 3. How the system works. So the crucial point is that this isn't just a financial free-for-all. To prevent exploitation, the earnings are strictly capped. We're talking $1 per view up to a maximum of $250 a day with firm quarterly and annual limits. To ensure this acts as a stabilizing economic force, payouts would be handled via stablecoins like USDC and actually designated for essentials, things like student loans, mortgages, or medical bills. And to fix that $71 billion bot problem we saw earlier, advanced verification ensures only real living humans get paid. To ground all of this in reality, the sources provide a hypothetical mathematical model. If you took major advertisers like Google, Meta, Amazon, Procter & Gamble, and Coca-Cola, their combined ad spend is roughly $400 billion. If they redirected just 10% of that budget, so $40 billion, into this nonprofit model and distributed it among 100 million verified citizens, each person would receive $400 annually. Now sure, $400 a year isn't going to magically transform someone's life overnight. However, it proves the math actually works. It's a highly scalable starting point that could grow into a much more substantial UBI-style support system as more corporations opt in. Moving right along to Section 4, the closed-loop economy. Let's see how this builds into a totally self-sustaining cycle. Step 1, brands redirect their ad budgets into the nonprofit. Step 2, verified citizens get paid that money to watch the ads. Step 3 is the real key here. Citizens spend those funds back within a curated marketplace that features the products and services of those sponsoring corporations. It's a closed loop. The corporations aren't just giving money away, they're literally funding their own consumers, who in turn spend that newly acquired wealth right back with the brands. This theoretically builds immense brand loyalty and ultimately boosts the corporate return on investment.
Section 5. Economic and social impacts.
The projected ripple effects of a system like this are massive. For citizens, this ad revenue basically acts as a universal basic income, stimulating economic growth from the ground up. For corporations, it offers an unprecedented boost in consumer trust and corporate social responsibility. It also levels the playing field for small businesses who can finally participate in the sponsorship model, all while shifting the entire focus of marketing towards sustainability and social good. And honestly, the eradication of that $71 billion bot fraud by paying only verified humans, that's just the icing on the cake.
Now, what's really interesting here is that this isn't purely science fiction. A real-world proof of concept actually exists today, a platform called We Are 8. They currently operate on a very similar model, giving 50% of ad revenue directly to users, with 4% going to charity, 1% to climate solutions, and 45% covering their platform operations. Studies cited in the materials show that this opt-in video advertising achieves much higher attention metrics from users than traditional social media, proving that when you actually compensate people, they really do engage.
Finally, Section 6. Challenges and future viability.
Now, of course, the documents acknowledge some severe economic hurdles to actually pulling this off. For instance, if ad spend becomes a tax-deductible nonprofit expense, governments face a massive drop in traditional tax revenue. Also, injecting up to $250 a day into citizens' hands risks severe localized inflation if consumer demand outpaces supply. Technologically and legally, integrating a national cryptocurrency like USDC on a global scale requires immense, highly secure infrastructure and a frankly unprecedented level of cooperation between international governments, regulators, and megacorporations. These are monumental challenges that would require incredibly careful management. Which leaves us with this final, truly provocative thought. We've seen how the current system wastes billions on bots while extracting your attention for absolutely free. And we've explored a highly structured mathematical blueprint that attempts to reroute that wealth back to the everyday citizen, creating a self-sustaining loop of ethical capitalism. The hurdles are immense, for sure, but the potential to turn a trillion-dollar marketing industry into a universal financial safety net, that is undeniably fascinating. So does the future of capitalism lie in making advertising a nonprofit public service? Well, that is a question I'm going to leave with you. Thank you for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.